In this episode, we are going to continue to discuss about the key responsibilities what product owners have. So in the last episode, we discussed about the first two, but for our audience to remember, there are 7 main responsibilities. So let's continue with the remaining 5.
Okay, so the third one will be prioritizing needs. Product owners must juggle the triangle of scope, budget, and time, weighing priorities according to the needs and objectives of stakeholders.
So that sounds really complicated. Maybe can you give us an example to that?
Yeah, let's have our base example, which is our product, the electric car charger application, which is under development and needs to launch within 6 months and has, let's say, $250,000 budget. And the business decides that there is a new feature which was not previously planned and it needs to be implemented. This will constrain the scope of the project. As the project evolves, the product owner will have to gauge which areas have flexibility and which don't to determine how and when each iteration and product element will be developed. Basically, for this, we can talk about 3 scenarios. First one would be, let's say that the budget is fixed. In this case, the business team has to be willing to extend the deadline. Our second scenario would be, let's say that the deadline is fixed. In this case, the business team has to be willing to extend the budget for more development resources to be allocated to accommodate the deadline. The last scenario would be if both the budget and the deadline is fixed. In this case, no new features can be added unless the business team is willing to leave out some prior features from the initially set requirements.
That's a great example. Thank you for that. So what's the next responsibility that's on our list?
So the fourth one would be overseeing development stages. With the vision, strategy, and product priorities set, the product owner should spend a significant amount of time overseeing the actual development of the product. They are a key player throughout each event, including planning, refinement, review, and sprint. During the planning stages, the Agile product owner works with stakeholders to identify and organize the steps required for the next iteration. They will then meet with their team to refine the process, identify areas for improvement, and support the sprint. Going forwards, the 5th responsibility would be anticipating client needs. A product owner is an expert at understanding and anticipating the client's needs to manage the development process more effectively. Hypothetically, let's say that the client of our electric car charger application wanted to see only the pins on the map where the chargers are located, but as a product owner, you might anticipate the fact that further details should be shown regarding those chargers, such as the type of the charger or how many spaces are available at that charging station. This leads to our 6th responsibility, which would be acting as primary communicator and link between the teams and stakeholders. A product owner is the primary communicator and link between stakeholders and teams. No stakeholder should be in contact with the development team, for instance, as key information can be lost if there is no one to bring things together correctly. This ties in perfectly with the product owner's responsibility of anticipating client needs, because some team members could not be in the position to anticipate other key information during the process.
So communication is key, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But how can a product owner make sure that everything goes according to plan?
Yeah, in this case, then we get to our 7th responsibility, which is evaluating product progress. Product owners are accountable for each stage of development process and the final product. They take a primary role in inspecting and evaluating product progress throughout each iteration.
Could we go through the stages of Agile development?
Sure. There are 5 stages of Agile development. First one would be project initiation. This initial stage is about discussing the project vision and the return on investment justification. It's actually a high-level discussion and does not delve into specifics. Then the second stage would be planning. This is where the team gets together with the product owner and identifies what they are looking for exactly and discuss how it will be made possible by building the backlog at the story level. The third stage would be the development stage. Once the requirements have been defined based on feedback from the product owners and stakeholders, the actual work begins. Our fourth stage is production. This is when your product has been deployed and it is being used by the final end users. And the last stage is the retirement, which is the final stage of Agile lifecycle. The product is now at the end of life stage and will be pulled from production and decommissioned. Customers are now notified and informed about migration to newer releases or alternative options.
Now that we all know what a product owner is, what their roles and responsibilities are, join us next time when we will discuss whether you should run a digital project without a product owner or not. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on LinkedIn.